So I recently just had a gentleman ask me about how to conduct himself in a relationship. And I guess relationships are a big theme. People are always messaging me about their relationship, about what they should do. Women too, men, it doesn't matter. Because relationships do play a big part of our life, And after all, relationship is really what this enlightenment thing is about. It's about the enlightenment or the relationship with yourself, relationship with nature, relationship with the world, relationship with the divine, relationship with everything, right? So it only makes sense that relationships with other people also encompass this entire spirituality thing, right? So, the thing is, it's a very complicated question to answer. I get these wide blanket statement sort of questions, and sometimes they're tough. It's a lot easier to address these things in sessions with people. That's why I do phone sessions and things, because each person has an individual sort of thing that's going on. Sometimes it has to do with them imposing their own emotional pain on a relationship, and that's what's causing the problem. The emotional pain that would be there even if the relationship wasn't in their life, but the pain would still be there. But they're really looking at the relationship as a source of that pain, but that's not the truth at all. It's actually just something they're carrying with them. So, one way, I would say that you could conduct yourself in a more harmonious and happier way in a relationship is to process your own pain, is to take accountability for your own pain, right? Not be a person that goes in there and blames everything on everyone else, because that's not going to heal you, and it's not going to help the situation. It's just going to create a bigger and bigger divide between you and the other person. So the first thing you want to do is be accountable to what are you contributing, right? When you're accountable to what you're contributing, then at least, you're willing to do the work on yourself, because at least there you have some control, right? I mean, a lot of people will do what you want or what you don't want, and ultimately you have no control over that, but you do have control over how you perceive things, right? So I trust that the clearer you get in here, inside, the clearer you are and the freer you are of your own emotional pain, your own wisdom will emerge. You will automatically know whether this is the right relationship for you or not. And you'll automatically know how to connect more. You'll automatically be more receptive to the person in front of you. But if you are just looking for an excuse to blame your pain on, you're just looking for some scapegoat, and that's what a lot of people do in their relationships. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that people look for a relationship so they have somebody to blame, not somebody to love. The second tip I could give you is, if you're in a relationship, it's important for both people to realize that the other person's desires are just as important as their own. Okay? So if you've chosen to be with another human being, and they've chosen to be with you, both people have to choose to care about the other person's priorities just as much as their own. And if one person is doing this more than the other, there's an imbalance that happens, and then there's inevitably conflict and problems and drama, right? So we've all seen it, one incredibly selfish person, it's all about me, and then they get in a relationship and it's supposed to be about us, and then they stay with me, and then of course the battle happens, right? So that's really the doorway to abusive type situations. There are a lot of people that I see. They don't know that I see it, but I know that they're in abusive situations because they're in a relationship where it's all about one person's vision, but their vision doesn't matter. It's only the one person, right? And so it's really a democracy, it has to be that. And if it's not, that means you're not in a real relationship. You are in some type of bondage or attachment. You're staying even though it's probably not in your best interest to, but because you don't want to feel the pain in the process of breaking up or separating, right? So once again, you go back to rule number one. If you processed your own pain, you probably wouldn't be in that situation, right? So that's really important, right? I mean, we want to use everything in our life to become free. Then automatically your decisions will have more wisdom. You will choose and have greater discernment for what is right for you. You won't settle for things that are lies, that there's some sort of level of control or abusiveness, because you're already okay the way you are. You don't have this overwhelming need to make sure somebody else makes you happy because you're so miserable. right? So those are 2 tips that I have for you, and I think that they will really help you a lot. I mean, that's ultimately the secret to everything, is that when you process your own suffering, you will attract a situation that is not full of suffering. You know, you won't settle for it. So it's kind of like eating dog poop your whole life, and then, you know, you have a nice gourmet meal at a fancy restaurant, and then dog poop just isn't quite the same anymore for you. You start to realize this isn't the same. I'm going to go back to that restaurant now because I've been eating that for a while, and that's just the wrong thing for me, right? So I hope this helped you a little bit on your journey for relationships. And make sure, if you have a question, just put it down in the comments below, and get specific if you can, make it easier for me to address your questions. But thanks for watching, and take care for now.